Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games and our second one-shot under the title The Silent Wars, series of one-shots that I am putting together so that we can play with some of our viewers in order to stay sane, or mostly sane, throughout the quarantine. I hope that everybody who's watching this is well, and hello to you guys on Twitch and on YouTube. Feel free to comment and tell us how you think today of the characters, the one shot, and also the map itself. The map today is from Neutral Party, and it's a beautiful map. I can't wait to show it to you. This is an idea, this one shot, of something that I came up with a couple of years ago, actually, when I first started going into D&D 5th edition after I'd previously DM'd in 4th and 3.5. And it's something I've always wanted to do. It's a little experimental. I don't know how it's going to go. It's a little bit messy with the connections between kind of mini encounters and things. And I guess at some point I'd like to kind of write it up and send it out there. So we'll see how we go. Either way, it intends to be carnage and stupidity, which is our usual fare. Anyway. Let's get started. Big thanks to Neutral Party and a big thanks to our viewers, Sean and Logan, who have joined us once again as their characters, Sean as Walton and Logan as Jadoon. Let's meet the players.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Hello, everyone.
How are you all?
Hello.
Tired.
I have to be stuck with a certain someone all day, and it's getting to a point now where I'm gonna throw him off the balcony.
It's going that well.
Sounds terrible. Sounds yeah.
So that well.
Well, the problem is that Corinne is accustomed to having a 4-hour commute, exhausted Simon who gets up at 5, spends all day in work, gets home exhausted, and yet still either plays or runs game. And what she gets at the moment is a well-rested Simon, which I'm sorry to say, all that manicness that gets drawn out of me in my commute, she has to be in the middle of that particular whirlwind. So.
Oh no.
That's fair. I'm on day 2 of my quarantine, so eat.
I've got till Tuesday on mine, and then I can do luxuries like go out for essential items like milk and bread. That's going to be my treat to myself, is going out and buying bread. And if
we're still in lockdown in the UK, so we're not allowed. Well, you're allowed to go outside like once a day for a walk, and you're allowed to go out for groceries, but not for anything else.
If they see you excessively in the streets, they can charge you. But I've had to give all of my my lab workers, my technicians, a letter from the company so that if they get stopped on their commute, at the moment I haven't got them in all the time. I've only got them in when they need to do their testing, because we actually build part of the COVID testing kit. So kind of essential. And so when my guys go in there to do particular testing, sometimes they could be in there 4 hours. The second they finish testing, that's it, back home. I've told them, you don't stick around, and you drive straight there, you drive straight back, so that we can keep that isolation. And our lab is one of the most cleanest places you can be in, so that's good. But yeah, I've had to give them all letters, so if they get stopped by the police, they can show their credentials as essential workers, which I have to admit is weird. It's the first time that I've kind of said, yeah, if the police stops you, contact me and I will sort it out. And that's the first time I've been able to do that. So very strange. But my guys aren't watching this, but even if they, whatever, I'm proud as hell of all of them. They've stepped up to the plate without a single bit of complaint, knowing that they're making a difference. So yeah, super proud of them. Anyway. How's the rest of you, other than Corinne going mad?
Surviving?
Yeah. I'm pretty used to isolation and no money, so I'm pretty normal almost, but I'm pretending that it's
I was born for
difference. Yeah, I was born training for this, but But yeah, I'm doing lots. I'm trying to do art, and I'm trying to tidy up, doing stuff that have been put off, and doing some spring cleaning and that sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Stuff.
cleaning is on my list to do now that I have time. Can't say I'm happy about it because I've been putting it off for a reason.
Yeah. There are
And
reasons we
suddenly
don't do
not
this.
having that use is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
working.
Well, now you can't have
40
any
hours a week
excuses
from
anymore.
work.
Go do your cleaning.
So I'm still
I hate being an
working, so
adult
I've got something to
sometimes.
do.
Myself,
I'm glad
I
I've still
got
got my
my.
work to do because otherwise I would be an absolute nightmare. Corinne wants to throw me off the balcony now. That's nothing compared to how I'd be if I had nothing to do all day. I've got my work thing,
no.
and in the night when we're not doing gaming, I'm going manic cooking things. So I've really upped my cooking game lately, where I'm just like, I shall not waste anything. I shall make something from this. Yeah.
I made some
Oh, well.
really good aioli today.
Yeah,
my achievement.
Yeah, you've been cracking on. You did aioli, marble cake. You did a bunch of other stuff. We're eating well, and yet because we're cooking it all and doing other stuff, we're not actually gaining weight either, which is good because previous me would be sat there playing Skyrim 24/7 eating. So I would not have survived, and I would have had a yellow face. But anyway. Enough.
Yellow face,
Enough.
vitamin C deficiency would end up with scurvy.
Have you got any limes? I need limes.
The fact that I haven't gotten scurvy in my life is surprising because of my citrus allergy. Like,
Well, there's
I can
only-
barely not eat the most common things to, like, avoid it.
I mean, there are some things like a lot of vegetables, like tomatoes and stuff, do give vitamin C. So like you're.
Oh
fine.
yeah, tomatoes are the best vegetable to eat for it, and luckily
And
I
it's in
eat them as a
Yulmust.
snack.
Yeah, it's in Yulmust. I think you top up like a
Yes.
camel once a year. So yeah.
Twice.
So,
Twice a year.
Twice a year. That's true. At Easter as well. Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Anyway.
What must is it?
You
at Easter?
must. You
Yulmust.
Postmust.
Postmust. The point.
Almost.
Almost. Okay. The point is both of them are musts, and that's it. This is a Swedish drink, kind of like a mulled Dr. Pepper is my description. And I had it last time I was over in Sweden, and it was lovely. So I'm going to be missing that as well.
I stock up every time it's in store because it's only sold around Easter and Christmas.
Like a camel,
And then
like I
there's like
said.
half a year of no must for me.
No must for Felicia.
sadness.
Dim must. Zero must.
Mhm.
Anyway.
We've strayed
Big
so
welcome
far from
back
the
to
topic.
Logan and Sean, previously viewers, which means that we're shooting ourselves in the foot because we're down 2 viewers, and and you're returning as
So we guys do like half of our viewer base.
and Logan's returning as his crazy cleric rogue, or crazy good, not actual crazy. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Cleric rogue. And Sean's Walden is a true blue fighter, and the sergeant that's running this ramshackle crew. Anyway, shall we get into it? You guys are in the tavern that you've been calling home now for a week. The people of Holtervan are warming to you after your previous service to the Baron, and also your clear seal of approval from the Baron. Even the harsh, bearded folk who run the barges have started allowing you to join in with their games of Three Dragonanti, singing various bard songs by the fire. You're sat in the main room that makes up most of the bottom floor of this tavern. A large open plan area with a big roaring fire. And you're enjoying what is a really good life. You've earned a lot of money in the last week. And sit back, relax, and recover from the slightly harrowing ordeal of going up against that large Tanaruk and those undead Knoll Witherings. One of your number has left, so Jen's character has gone off to respond to another deputation call that requires her specialist skills. But another member of the deputation has been sent in her stead. At this point, I would like Kate to name and describe her character.
Right, the character I've just finished creating, that one.
Yep, like 3 minutes ago.
Nope, literally just now. Okay, so I am Trim, a Air Genasi monk. Slightly gender neutral, or possibly female, but basically has a very sort of gender neutral look. Typical Air Genasi, of sort of bluish kind of skin, very sort of like they've short white hair, just sort of gently floating, very calm, and relatively quiet individual. Yeah, that's about all. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Okay. And once again, she is a member of the deputation, another private or depending on her choice, and is wearing the same badge the rest of you have. You've seen her kicking about. The deputation mix and match on a regular basis depending on what they do. So
they're pretty
you're
low
sat there-
charisma and low intelligence, but generally good at other things. Just FYI.
Okay. Bit of a shrinking violet. Okay. And yeah, you're enjoying good fare, a warm fire. You've been sleeping in comfortable beds and being able to roam around the town and indulge in the various shops and distractions that are about. As you're tucking into what is just a simple set of finger food, bar snacks, you're only having one kind of major meal. There's a ringing bell, and you can see behind the bar is a large coiled piece of metal making a kind of spring, on the end of which is a brass bell. It's one of these kind of servant quarter bells that you would normally find in the base of a castle or a manor house. And there would normally be different rings for different rooms, but this is just one of them. It starts to ring, and the barman turns to you all and says, "Baron's door's opening. Have a mind about you. You know he doesn't like foul language." The two barmaids that are on shift start to clear up various bits and pieces, and one of them starts to draw a small glass of an amber-coloured fluid, about the size of a sherry glass. A couple of minutes pass.
Error. Cannot define foul language.
Here we go. And suddenly, behind the bar, next to the barman, just strides out the Baron from behind the bar. And the waitresses go up and close the curtains. It's an overcast day. It's quite grey, but they close it instead. They close it anyway, in deference to the Vampire Lord of Holton, Vampire Baron of Holton. He scans across the room and catches your eye and goes, "Ah," and steps out from behind the bar and starts to walk towards you and says, "My deputation agents, are you well?"
Good day, Baron. We're doing all right. And yourself?
Affirmative.
Affairs of state, as you can see, a little tired. Also, the daytime, you understand. It's the equivalent of you being at 1 a.m. And you can see he's looking slightly less polished than when you last saw him. When you last saw him, he was quite well to do. Now you can see there's kind of black rings under his eye, showing some form of fatigue. You're not fully au fait with fatigue signs on vampires. Few people get to stick around one long enough to know. And he takes a seat around with you, either around the same table as you or in the same sofa. And one of the waitresses walks up with the small sherry-like glass and proffers it to him, and he takes it and says, "Thank you, my dear. Josephine, isn't it?" And she kind of mutters something under her breath, something like, "Yes, my lord," and backs away. He takes a sip and goes, "A local tipple. So, are you well rested?" And I noticed that Zephyr has been changed for, let's see, the letter said Trim, I believe.
Yeah, I'm Trim.
A pleasure to meet you. You come highly recommended, and if your cohorts are anything to be reckoned with, you should be in good company. He takes another sip and says, "Not an hour ago, I detected the death of a good friend, a staunch ally over the years. I knew him when he was but a teenager, and yet we now part due to old age. His name is Groga. He's a ratty little that likes to dabble in things that he shouldn't, and I'm surprised he's managed to get to the ripe old age that's found his demise. But I did have a task for him that he was in the middle of, and I need someone to go to his, I guess you would call it a shop. He has customers, that makes sense. His business, his place of business, which is also his home, and retrieve the items that I need. You see, he was trying to find an artifact, Aganassa's shield. At this point, anybody who would like to roll Arcana or History may do so.
I will not. With intelligence of 4.
Arcana or history? I am good in both.
I'll give it a go.
I got a 16 in history. Or Arcana. History. I'll go for history.
Okay.
That dice goes to jail?
Oh no, that early. Oh boy.
Well, good start.
Yeah, I'm too engrossed in whatever I am drawing. Because she's probably working on a map. She has no idea. She probably didn't even notice him entering. I rolled a 1.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm hearing a 16. Any elevation on 16? No?
I mean,
Okay.
I can try. I'm gonna see if my systems actually.
Work.
Yeah. No, that's a 6. So a 6 minus. What is it? What is my minus? My minus is like -3 or something.
-3 or -4, I think.
-3. So that's a 3.
Okay, yep. You
You are
know nothing. Never
almost
heard the
as
name.
unaware as I am.
Well, it's a good thing you've been joined by Trim then, because Trim has heard of Aganazza. Aganazza was a wizard of some renown and was known for his use of elemental evocation magic. Basically, the guy could throw around lightning and fire and all sorts of stuff. He was also a good political advisor in the end of his life. He in Illyria, in this world, he was an advisor to the Convocation of Skalwell, the nation of dragon, and he is
place.
famously known for Aganassa's Scorcher, a signature spell by which he would lay down a line of devastating fire, and he was known for being very spectacular in battle. He was raised a noble, and he also was raised, because he was raised a noble, was raised in the martial arts as well. So he could use a sword, it was fabled to say. But no one had ever seen him fight using one. No shield has been mentioned in any of the tales.
I have never heard of this shield. In any tales I have read of this wizard.
It's a lesser known artifact. Agonazar mostly would be walking around with his regular arcanist garb and a staff, but a staff or a small rod with a kind of dragon's head facing outwards. But yes, he was known for his fighting style as well. Later on, after he had learnt to wield the arcane arts, he started using that to enchant certain items. He wasn't a known enchanter, but he added his own individual flair. The shield itself is a slight misnomer. It's actually a ring. It's about it's big enough to go onto your and he proffers a ring. He says it's about as big as this ring, and the ring that you can see has a large gem set on it, a large oval gem like opal. And he says, and it protected him from all manner of elemental attack. And I'm seeking that right now. Give me an insight check. You managed to draw some words out of it, so beyond his original approach.
My insight isn't that bad. 15.
15. You can see that he's struggling. A lot of etiquettes, a lot of air and graces, but the Baron is definitely struggling right now. Almost like he's in pain or ill.
Should you rest?
Hello, sir. I didn't notice you coming. Did you like the maps?
I did. They are an asset. Thank you very much. We've not had such skilled work in this town in a very long time. You are to be commended, my dear. Yes, I do need to rest. Do you have any questions of me before we go? I haven't told you much about poor Grogar, have I?
Is Grogar linked to this ring? Do they have... You think that Grogar had this ring, or they were killed because of the ring?
Only if he succeeded in his task. I set him to broker to find it. He is a recruiter of sorts. He deals in... he brings his voice down and says he's a diablerist. Consorts with demons and devils, that kind of thing. Have you heard of these things? Extreme sport? He's kind of that of the Arcanist world, always happy to take a risk. His arcane defenses that he placed around my mansion are second to none. But when he needs to seek help, usually he likes to make a deal. A wily old thing, incredible intelligence. He was able to, wrap even the most fiendish of, fiends in their own words. And he was currently brokering to try and find this ring, and using the denizens of hell and abyss to try and find it, and possibly retrieve it.
Do you know his cause of death?
Yes, thankfully he and I were bloodbound. I used my blood to sustain him after a mortal injury once, and since then I've always been able to feel his life force. He died of old age. I could feel him petering away. He was 406. For him, a fairly good run. He was not of good health when I met him. And he was, 17 at the... Considering his profession and his disability, he had a good run. You can see that the vampire, even though he breathes, is panting heavily and seems to be degrading rapidly.
As in, he looks like he's about to die, or?
He's looking fairly ill. Yeah, he's looking weak. He's looking lethargic. and you're starting to see tinges of pink in it.
What does that mean? What does pink mean?
Nothing other than that's not what he walked in as. His eyes are starting to get.
Okay.
Sir, your physical form seems to be deteriorating. I suggest medical attention.
He looks around at the people who've quite clearly heard this and says, "Ah, no, just pushing myself a little too hard. No rest for the dead. No, I shall be quite all right." At which point, a young woman says, "Baron, I carry the ribbon," and she undoes her cuff, and she has a scarlet ribbon around her wrist, and says, "I am available if you should need it." And he goes, "No, I'm quite full, thank you. But no, the Warforged here is sorry, the deputation private here is quite right. I am quite tired and pushing even beyond the bounds of my monstrous constitution. I should withdraw. Here's the address. It's just outside of town." And he gives you basically a set of directions how to get. It's in a very traditional gnomish home. It's set in a barrow. You'll see it when you get there. He has a purple lantern, purple fire outside the door. What I need you to do is go through his shop. Be careful. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful things in there, and find out anything that he has with regard to Aganasa's shield. Find his journal, his notes, looking his study. It should be what he devoted himself to. But, as I say, be careful. Even I haven't gone in there for years. Right, I do apologize. Please, contact me if you need anything else. I'm sure my Chamberlain will give you more. He stands up and almost looks fit to drop, doesn't touch the rest of his drink, and walks out. Through the bar, not outside.
How do we all feel about this then?
I don't think he is well.
Tell you what I think. I think that he wants that shield for whatever's going on with him.
Probably. Can't say
His
I've seen-
organic form seems to be deteriorating. This is of concern.
Yes.
I haven't seen that before. Perhaps it would be beneficial. I think I know what direction we were supposed to go. I saw a similar looking hut while me and Whisper were mapping the city earlier in the week.
Oh, well, he left us a set of directions, and I hand them over real quick.
Oh, yes. Would you like to leave now or tomorrow?
I
Well,
think it's for the
it's
best
about
if we
midday.
deal with this today,
Yeah.
but we certainly have time to make any preparations we may.
Sentry is always ready.
Yes, whatever
I have
everyone
my
thinks,
stuff.
I'm ready.
Well, if we're all ready, let's get this sorted out now. We'll be back by dinner, eh?
I cannot ingest organic matter.
We'll find
No.
you something nice to chew on. Perhaps a fancy rock. I know you like those.
I do not have an orifice to ingest anything of even of inorganic matter.
And yet you often try. So.
Well remembered. Well remembered. So in the last episode, Corinne's character Sentry has a kabuki mask for a face that has no moving parts, and yet she still tried to smash. What was it? A carrot or something into your face?
Carrot,
Piece of
yeah.
I can't remember. It's a carrot.
Ended up dyeing part of the porcelain. Okay. So yeah,
I do it so I can fit in.
social pressure. So you can see that everybody in the tavern is now looking at you. You can see that there are laborers, bargees, and a general mixed group from around the town. If you want to speak to any of them, get any information, things like that, you can, or you can go into the town. There's everything that you would imagine for a medieval
I
setting.
would like to buy a couple of health potions.
Okay. You end up going to the artificer. Sorry, not artificer. Oh, yeah, technically artificers, because all alchemists are artificers, aren't they? Yeah, you go to the local alchemist, and he's the same one that Logan went to before, then kind of referred Logan to the guy down the docks for the rat bait, or rat poison. And he says, "Yep, we've got a couple in stock, but yeah, it'll cost you. It takes a while to make one of those."
How much do you take?
Simon's just checking the setting notes for this.
Roll for haggling.
Okay, he says, unfortunately, it's quite difficult to get everything that we need around here, and if we could get more reagents, we definitely benefit from lower prices. I'm afraid it's 75 gold pieces each, and we've only got the 3.
I'll take 3 then.
You're not gonna haggle.
No,
He,
I got 200 extra because I made maps last time.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yep. So he puts them down and says that'll be 225. Okay. You've got 3 healing potions. They are just regular healing potions. Regular potions of
Yep.
healing, as per the
Yeah,
price handbook.
that's fine. I
Okay.
just wanted a couple of potions for safety.
Yeah, you got 3. Yeah. You just bought him out of his stock, though, quite clearly. You can see that there's fast heal poultices and things like that. So they allow for extra hit dice and things like that, and they're good for short rests and things. But these are the only ones that heal you in an instant.
Yeah.
You see that most of the people around here will use the healing poultices and the recovery elixirs, which are long. They take time to act.
Yeah.
Okay. Would anybody like to do anything else? Logan, you still got your acid arrows. You've already you used, what was it, 4 of them? Was it 5 of them last time? So you should have about another 15 charges because you bought 2 bottles, didn't you? Yeah.
Yep.
So, any more before you leave the town?
Nope, Centra is just waiting for everybody else to get ready because she has nothing else to do. Because she cannot think of anything to do with intelligence 4.
I'd like to ask around, maybe someone around the tavern, see if they've heard anything about this place we're going to.
Sure. Give me a charisma check with proficiency. This is just a socialized check.
Not with that roll. That is an 8.
An 8? Okay, no, that's fine. It's not that they won't talk to you. It's just how well you start off. So, what are you going to ask? You walk up to what seems to be a gentleman that's got a wand at his hip, but doesn't look like an arcanist. He's dressed in what seems to be merchant's clothing.
Oh, cool. Excuse me, sir. sorry to bother you today. Have to go to the to Groger's place and check out his shop. Just to make sure it wasn't. Or what have you heard? Like, what do you know? Just anything you know that I might know that would help us all out with knowing things.
I'm afraid gentlemen like me don't frequent places like Grogan. He's well, I know he was loyal to the Baron, and I commend that. But a lot of people are loyal to the Baron, myself included. He's proven himself to Empress Celine, and therefore proven himself to me. But no, I never associated with that kind of that method. Let's say I like to deal with my things, my problems, in a good and practical and reasonable manner, not with the well, his way of dealing with things.
Oh, forgive me, sir. I had no mean to infer that was of your type. I'm ignorant and seeking information. I would love to know more about this kind of place so that I may better protect myself and my allies from it.
Roll again.
Do better.
Am I with? I feel like Sentry would follow around Walton, be the leader, so she's just standing there.
I was thinking I was going to follow Walton as well. Just
Okay.
Dirty 20.
Okay, yeah. He goes, well, yes, of course. One can't be expected to do the right thing unless one is in. And I suppose it is gentlemen like myself of standing within the town who must step forward and do such things. Of course, officer, I would be happy to furnish you with the information. Groger, as I'm sure the Baron told you, was somewhat of a dabbler in the dark arts for good means. I'm sure he tried his best to take on some of the Baron's problems and some of his enemies. But personally, I do not agree. Methods. Also, he would, and this is the part I disagree with most, you understand, he would sell minor deeds of that ilk. Instead of getting some good, strong men, some fine labourers like the gentleman you see over there, and he points to the labourers, to see off an attack of goblins, he would provide a hex net. Some form of barrier around property that if it was crossed by the targets in question, it would curse them in some way. I've seen the results of some of the mangled bodies as a result. Apparently those things are in Baron's mansion. If one should go off by accident, perish the thought. And then, of course, there were the things that Groger was willing to do that our good alchemist here in the town would never stoop to. And that is, he would make, well, I shudder to say, but I would say marital aids, of which some people here would indulge in. Potions containing God knows what, for them to get up to God knows what. Anyway.
Unconscionable.
Exactly. I would expect a
Processing
fine
error.
upstanding officer like yourself to understand keeping the public order. Yes. You're the right person for us to have here in town. Haltervan is all the better for you, sir. All the better for you. Yes, he
Thank you for
would.
saying,
He would dabble in herbalism, alchemy, and then finally the foul side of the arcane arts. I am a minor practitioner myself, and he taps the very, very beautiful, very costly wand at his hip. I am a minor practitioner myself, only so much as I can do my piece should the town get attacked. But no, I learnt through good old-fashioned study, like most of the Wizard Academy. But he likes to make deals, or liked to make deals. Not for me to speak ill of the dead, but Grogar it caused as many problems as he solved, I'm sure. So,
Well, thank you so much, sir. We will definitely be aware of this as we go in to carry out our duty today. You certainly helped keep the peace. Thank you.
I feel like my civic service is provided. Thank you.
Have a nice day, sir.
And he go, yeah, you salute him, and he's very impressed by the fact that you saluted him, and goes back to his meal, very happy.
Okay, so we've got to be on the lookout for all kinds of magic, hooey, booey, babooey in there. All right,
Pretty
everyone.
much.
Technical term.
Not all deals are bad, but he seems to have made the wrong ones.
I don't necessarily think less of him. I just want us to be aware of dangers going in.
Affirmative.
Does anyone else
I
have
could not
any stuff to
process
do?
what he meant by marital aids.
Trib, you want to take that one?
Organics are complicated.
Well,
Okay.
good talk. Let's go to the. Let's go. Good talk. Let's hustle.
No, following after Walton.
Sure. You get to the western gate and walk past the barracks and head on out into the countryside. It doesn't take very long for you to go through what is a section that is a little further away from the swamp. So it's got a good sturdy road, but there's that lovely smell, that mixed smell of various botanicals and organics that make up the swamp and the outlying countryside, and you can kind of understand why people are happy. This is just a very quiet and rich environment, untouched by civilization. Only a few minutes out of the town, and suddenly you're forgetting it and being your senses are being filled by everything. The sounds of wildlife in the distance, the smells, the strange palette of color that you see, various greens and blues and browns and ochres that are just popping out, and these beautiful lush flowers that grow everywhere, benefiting from the high organic and the minerals that come. You follow to what seems to be a small hamlet. There's a few very distanced homes, and sure enough, as soon as you get to the hamlet, you can see that there's a large mound with a giant tree on top. And at the base of the mound, there is a set of thick, what seems to be moss-covered doors, with a small deck leading up to it. And outside the deck, on a crook-like holder, is a small lantern burning with a bright lilac flame. And a sign says Grogar's Hex Shop. And I need to keep saying "huh" with the Hex Shop, especially after the marital aid. This is where we will bring up the map on Roll20.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So you can see that the sign outside the doors says "Welcome," and the door is slightly ajar, and there's a small blue canopy that casts a shadow on the door itself. But you can see inside there's and the door seems to be deliberately left ajar, about a foot gap. And inside you can see a kaleidoscope of colours that seem to be bouncing off the wall and mixing. The light source is somewhere on the floor, and from what you can tell, there's nobody inside.
I have a bad feeling about this. Wisp, would you mind taking a look?
So yes, your sprite Whisper, your Kur Whisper, goes, sure. It's very strange. And your eyes cloud over and your ears start to go all muffly as if you're underwater, and you're suddenly looking through your familiar as you go in. Inside is a room, and I'll make sure you guys are all focused on it. There we go. There's a room with 6 bubbling cauldrons. Each cauldron has a different bright color in it, and there's a light emanating. This is where the source of the colors that mix on the ceilings and the walls are from. And even though there's a few candles around the room which would otherwise light up quite sufficiently, they are dwarfed by this array of color. The kaleidoscope that mixes and twists on the ceiling gives a fantastical view inside this barrow. There's nobody there at present, but as Whisper flies over the welcome mat, a figure appears, quite clearly an illusion, semi-transparent, and it's of a haggard and slightly disfigured, a hunchback gnome, and looking straight at the door, and says, "Welcome to Grogar's Hex Shop. I am currently busy and not in the shop. I'm sure with something that is both delicate and requires my consent. Please feel free to come in and browse around. But I warn you, thieves will be punished. The shop, no." And the little apparition of this gnome disappears.
Oh.
Can you hear me now? By the way?
Yes.
Okay, because before she sent Whisper in, I totally just like, can I check for traps? But I got my keybinds wrong. I'm like, oh no, he can't hear me. Okay.
So, if you want to do me an investigation check, we'll expect it. She hasn't triggered any traps, but you may as well check for the rest of you. Bear in mind, Whisper is about the size of a sparrow and didn't touch any of the doors or the sides, so, yeah.
Alrighty. I shall check for trap. That's an investigation, right?
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, 11 plus 7 is 18.
Yep. So you can see there are 2 traps on the door. One of them is arcane in nature and will require an arcane roll. Once you point it out, you can get somebody else to do the arcane roll. The arcana roll, sorry. The other trap is seems to be some sort of mechanical device that has 2 salts and a flare. And it's meant for anybody who tries to pick the lock on this open door. And once the flare goes off, it'll mix the salts, create a charge, and send an electric charge down the lockpicks and into whoever's trying to pick the lock. Incredibly nasty. It's only when you start looking into the lock yourself that you go, hang on, those are 2 contact points. And you sniff the lock and you go, oh, I know what this is. And immediately you recognize it as a shock lock. The other thing that you can tell is that the door itself has some sort of arcane markings on it, but you'd have to do an arcana check or get somebody else to as well. You can just about see kind of just on the rim of the door, and it's kind of where the door would normally close on itself, so it'd normally be very hard to see, and you'd only kind of see half of them if the door was closed, as in, half of each of them, to know what it does.
So yeah, if anyone could take a look at this, because it's an arcane trap. I also find it interesting, and I don't know what to do about it, but I find it interesting that this lock here is trapped with the door ajar.
I'll take a look at it. Just give me a moment. Oh. And she blinks her eyes, like, coming back to it. That's a decent one, because that is a dirty 20.
Yep. So you take a look at it, and the symbols are very easy. There's a little bit of abjuration in there, and there's a little bit of divination in there. So what you're seeing here is effectively the alarm spell that's been imbued into the doors. and also the doors have been shielded. So using spells or fire or anything like that, you have a feeling that they're magically reinforced.
Oh. They are just reinforced. I think what the illusion said about being welcome in is true. As long as we don't take anything.
Oh, come on!
Stealing is a crime.
Sorry,
Only
Rogue.
if you're caught.
Also dependent on the place in
Error.
the world we are in at the current moment. Either way, should we take a look?
I mean, might as well. We're here.
Affirmative.
That is why we are here. And I'll walk in.
Sure. You walk in, and the same message plays out for you. And once again, with a little kind of cackle and a ring of his hand. Now that you've kind of seen it a second time and you know what to expect, I will allow a perception roll from both Felicia and Kate.
Whoop whoop.
Oh, maybe not that dice then.
I don't have good perception. 16.
Okay.
9.
You can see that there are 7 fingers on his left hand, and of the 5 fingers on his right hand, 2 of them are fused together. The little finger and the finger to it are fused together as he's wringing his hand. And yeah, you can see that as he's wringing his hand, you go, hang on, there's too many fingers there. And on this hand, he has 2 extra fingers.
Huh. That's not normal for... Is he a goblin or a gnome?
He's a gnome. He's a gnome.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's not normal on gnomes.
What?
I've tried being a gnome.
How'd that
What?
work out?
Not as well as I hoped.
What is not normal?
Processing error. Organics. Processing error.
We
Yes.
should get that fixed.
He has too many fingers on one hand, and the other hand they are fused together. Could one of you boys come in and we can see it again? I'm sure you guys will notice it too.
Sure, I'll step in and take a look.
Gonna watch closely this time.
Yep, you do notice a few other things now. I want him to get you to roll. You can see that one of his eyes is clearly damaged. It was something that you'd have to be looking for. Yeah, you can see that the pupil is split on one of his eyes. Now that you're kind of close enough to be able to kind of get up to where he appears and flank him and kind of look around him, you notice that he's got some scaly skin on the back of his neck. And you can see that one of his shoes is bigger than the other. You have a feeling he may have a club foot. Whether this is a result of working with curses and arcane arts, or if it's a kind of born disability, you're not sure. But he seems, from the short animation that you can see, to be, completely being able to rock it. You can't see him walk, but you can see him wringing his hands. He seems quite energetic. He's standing without a stick. Yeah, apparently this form of his, that's just who he is. And yeah, that seems fairly normal. Now that you've seen it a few times.
He has messed with a lot of things in his time. I am not surprised he looks this way.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Could
wander
just have
over.
been born that way.
It is a possibility.
That is true too.
But the chances of being born with one abnormality is really low. Having that many, it can't be a coincidence.
Jadoon would like to look around for anything of interest to Jadoon.
I'm also going to wander over
The
towards
rogue wants
one.
to do rogue thing.
I'm going to wander over to one of the cauldrons and take a look.
Remember, we are police.
Yes, you remember you are the police force. So, Jadoon, you can see that there are a number of items of interest to start with. There seem to be here in the middle of the cauldrons. There seems to be like a little set of work desks, all at gnomish height, and there's a couple of little stools that you can sit on, and then there's a larger stool for someone of average size to sit on. And there seem to be little necklaces and brooches and small rings, there's various items there that seem to have they look like they should have some sort of arcane interest. Some of them have markings on them. Some of them runes. Some of them just seem to have be made up things. So there's a bracelet that seems to be spun hemp with things in the braiding, like a charm bracelet, but with all little odd sorts. You're pretty sure that one of them is a bezoar, which is a stone that's been recovered from the stomach of a goat and made completely smooth, which is a reagent to make various cures. And
The Bezoar in the Harry Potter terms.
Yeah. So a bezoar is it is a thing from folklore. It's actually the name of a bezoar, of a stone that you find in a goat as well. There's also one called a Drakina bezoar, by the way, which is made up of hair for people who chew their hair, famously from the Sandman novels. Yeah, you can see that there's a mixture of these kind of things, and some of them would have, if not financial value, some sort of useful value. The bezoar, by the way, was identified automatically by Kate as proficiency in alchemist tools. So going up to the cauldron, Kate, I would like you to make that check. Either wisdom or intelligence, your choice, with proficiency, and this covers your tools.
Okay. Just a wisdom check. What did you just say? Sorry, a wisdom check or a intelligence check?
Wisdom or intelligence?
Definitely going for wisdom. Intelligence is a -1. Wisdom is a +2. So we will go for wisdom plus proficiency. So that would be 5. So that is 19 on a check.
19, sure. You take a look at the big cauldron in front of you, and it's a cauldron type that you've seen many times before. Typical kind of blacksmith grade. You take a look, you kind of sniff the contents. It's bubbling, which is kind of interesting. You know, you've got the yes, there's a kind of coals beneath, which look quite hot. But as you're there and you're smelling it, you're like, there's no heat. And you kind of just put your hand on the cauldron. Once again, no heat. And then, you know, you gingerly touch the surface of the cauldron, just waiting for something to splash up onto your finger. And as you do so, you look a little deeper and go, what? You have a feeling that these cauldrons are for show. You're pretty sure that's coloured water and some sort of magical light.
Yeah, I do not think these are anything. I think it's... Can I touch the liquid?
Yeah. You don't feel that it's doing anything to your skin. You bring it up to your mouth. There's no smell. Actually, give me
It
a
is
survival
odorless,
check.
tasteless.
Do not lick it.
They do that in all the movies. All the
Dirty
movies.
Water.
Every
Don't
movie
lick
does
it.
that. What was it? A survival? Did you say?
Survival or nature, I will accept, but survival's probably the one you want because it's wisdom.
Yes. Survival makes this a 15.
Sure. Yeah. You smell it and you go. Yep, and you recognise a well-known fruit.
Ooh.
You've ate this fruit this morning for breakfast.
I think he's basically making punch. It tastes nice.
Huh. Is there like does Jadoon see any way to like make purchases?
Yes. There's right over in the corner. I'll ping the desk. There is a ledger and very obviously a lockbox with gold with a little slit in the top, where you can just drop the coins in and a big old padlock.
When did this
And
gentleman
how much
die
did
again?
that stone?
It took you about an hour and a half to get here, and the Baron said within an hour, so no more than 2 hours. Just to point out as well, there are 3 doors leading out of here. If you can't see them, you should be able to, and that's to the left, to the right, and the bottom of them.
So, Simon, that was to me, was it? That he'd actually only been dead a couple of hours?
That's right. He's only been dead a couple of hours.
So he's
and it's at
potentially
this
here
point,
somewhere and dead. Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. As far as you haven't had it confirmed, but it is likely that there is one here. So that he is here. It's at that point where, as you're looking at the looking in the direction of the logbooks, Jadoon, that you hear a smash, and that's coming from the left. And you can see.
I will go
there's a door.
investigate.
There's a door that seems to be locked, and it says, "Do not enter. Dangerous components inside." And there seems to be a bunch of symbols that most of you cannot understand. I'm going to say straight off the bat that both Arya and Trim recognize the symbols for basically stuff that blows up, stuff that burns you. So symbols for acid and so on. It's got alchemist symbols on there.
That can't stop me because I cannot read.
That is
Sure.
true.
I can open this door for you if you want, unless the components are in the lock itself. I would probably check the lock for traps before doing so, but my question is, do you want this unlocked?
Processing.
As you get closer to the door, you can hear more things being knocked over, smashed, and a.
I hear organic
need to know
activity
what
on the
language
other
is
That
side.
wouldn't happen to be either celestial, common, elvish, or primordial.
No, keep going. If anybody else would like
Deep
to
speech.
pitch a. No,
Draconic.
I'm going to assume it's not
Yeah,
celestial.
it's not celestial.
Primordial.
No.
Draconic?
No. No.
Pick the wrong ones.
How does the one
Jadoon
who
knocks
can't
on the
read
door
know
at this
draconic?
point.
Okay. You knock on the door, and suddenly there's this.
We're with the deputation and we're out to get you.
Correction. We are the deputation. We're here to help. Do not pay any attention to my
Quick!
colleague.
Or that.
Quick! And suddenly there's this little knock, knock, knock on the door, and a. Hello? Hello?
Greetings. I am Sentry. Who are you?
Walton?
What's a sentry?
Walton? Maybe. I nudge Walton forward to take over from Sentry trying to talk to this thing.
I'm keeping an eye on things. I'm keeping an eye on things. Sentry has to have the chance to fail on their own first.
I'm gonna. Sentry is gonna have his character up.
Sentry needs to try, I guess.
My designation and name is Sentry. We are the deputation. We're here to look for. Out of character, what was his name?
Grogar.
Yeah. We're here to look for an organic life form named Grogar.
One second. And then you hear Grogar. And then this little voice comes back and goes, Grogar's dead. This place belongs to us now. Go away.
We need to search for his organic body.
You need to go away. Right now. We're
we don't
dangerous.
wanna.
We're armed and dangerous. There's lots of us.
We're armed and dangerous. There's lots of us.
Oh. We don't
have to fight. I'm just pointing this out.
Oh. Okay.
What are we actually talking to, Simon? Have we seen these creatures yet?
No, you're talking through
They're
the
behind
door.
the door. Yeah.
Okay.
Kalos says you go anywhere you want, just not this room. This is our room. Go
Is
away.
the body in that room?
No.
Insight check. Can I insight check from a door?
Yeah, do we believe that?
Yeah, go. Give
Do
me a
we
roll.
believe it?
Give me a roll.
All right.
Yeah, definitely.
Sentry believes her.
Ooh.
Sentry.
19 plus 4.
Yeah, sure. So this
Yeah,
character
same.
Squick, whatever Squick is, you scored high enough to know that the speed at which he answered, his mouth was moving before his brain was engaged. If he was lying, he would have hesitated. The fact that it came out just so quickly and so naturally, you believe that the body's not in.
The body's not in that room. Okay, well, the rest of these guys, I don't know if they want to deal with them, you guys, but I'm good, so I'm going to purchase the stone over here.
Okay.
How much does the stone cost?
Which stone is this? The bazaar?
Yep.
You don't see a price on it.
They put like 5 gold in and like see what happens.
Sure, why not?
Okay. You drop 5 gold pieces in, and you're there holding a stone. What do you do?
I don't sense any change or see any change.
Nope. That you put the stone down next to the thing. You put 5 gold pieces in the box. You can hear it chink into the box with a bunch of other coinage, and yeah, you've just put some coins
Maybe
in
you
a
can
box.
state, I am purchasing this bazaar, and maybe if that like is. Maybe that will trigger something. I don't know.
Okay. Dadun is going to cautiously move towards the door. Like, not go out the door, but see what happens.
Okay, as you walk towards the door, there's a sudden, what would I call it? A rummaging sound. Perception checks from everybody.
Oh dear.
Natural 20!
Oh my god.
Wow.
14.
Sure.
Another 19 plus 4.
Sure. Yeah.
12.
16.
Okay, so Logan, Sean, and Corinne, you do notice that as Jadun goes towards the door, the 4 suits of armor that are flanking either side of the room twitch, and the door apparently is trying to close.
Okay, I'll move back towards the box and I don't know, let's put 5.
Moving, and actually yours back a little bit, almost like it's moving in the breeze. And you look at the suits of armor; they don't appear to have twitched.
Is there like a
I'm gonna go ahead and
price
put
list?
5 more in there and repeat this process.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward this. How how much gold are you going to keep going up in increments of 5 for before you stop?
I'm gonna say 10 times for 50 gold.
Okay. Yeah, you get to 40 gold, and you get then you walk towards the door, and there's no twitch from the suits of armor, and the door doesn't appear to move. It appears that you're free to leave with that stone on your person if you wish.
Judy turns back. She's like, "Guys, I did it!"
Yep.
Congratulations.
Another great success. Good job, team.
Yeah. No doubt
I
you
love
have-
Walton. I love him so much. He's such he's trying his best to like make us like be encouraging.
He's such a great team leader.
So note down that you have a Bazoa, Jadoon, Logan. And with the Bazoa, you can make a decoction once per long rest. And that decoction will expire by the beginning of the next long rest. So it only lasts for 24 hours.
What's a decoction?
Decoction is it's a variation on a tea or a tincture, whereas a tea is a tea and a tincture is something that you dissolve the components in vinegar. A decoction very typically is something where you're mixing it into water. So in this case, you can put the Bazoa in water and and let it seep over a number of hours, and then afterwards that water takes on a property. Almost like some of the Bazoa has dissolved into it. So you can make basically a potion with it that within the 24-hour period, one person can drink it as an action. It's a little foul. It takes a whole action to drink it. It will give you an immediate saving throw to any toxins that are in your body.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's an antitoxin.
That's correct.
Probably good idea for the one dipping his arrows in acid.
So acid is not poison.
That it is not, but it is a toxin. Kind of.
I would like to wander towards the
does
opposite
it count
door.
as a toxin?
No.
Sure. As you walk up to the door, you can see that it has got a lock on there, but the lock seems to be arcane in nature. It has a keyhole, but it has got some very overt arcane runes on the outside of the lock. I'm not going to get you to roll for this one. This is a well-known set of runes. You've seen it before. This is a personal lock. So it is a personal cantrip that someone can learn to open up this lock. So whereas other people would have to use a key, he can just walk up to it, wave his hand, and the door will... It's like a clapper, but for doors. Yeah? And it's attuned to him. The lock itself is attuned to him. This would be the way for him to go in and out easily. There doesn't seem to be any sign on the door. I would like you to make a perception check.
That is a 17. Yep.
Okay.
17.
You can smell. Not to put too blunt. It's a foul smell. Smells like a toilet.
Huh. This does not smell nice in this room. But weirdly that makes me want to open the door. And I will knock on the door.
Okay. As you knock on the door, there's a sudden low growling noise from the other side of the door. Probably sounding like a medium to large sized dog. But there's a strange edge to the growl. Seems like it has like a tinny element to it. Like the dog is growling down like a pipe, or is it in a metal pipe and growling?
I do not want to
and,
open this door. I walk away from the door.
Jadoon hisses at the growling.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
of course,
you're on
Tabaxi.
Tabaxi. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So there seems to be some sort of growling noise.
I wandered
so
to
we-
the other
we-
door.
Sure. There's no sound coming from this door, but it does say storeroom on it.
That might be a lead.
We are here to find something.
And we've only got one door left.
Well, we have not opened the
Yes.
other two, but this one is quiet. I will knock on this door.
Nothing happens.
It does not growl.
Well,
it is
that
better.
promising.
Who is good with doors?
I will
check
open
for
this
traps.
door.
Okay.
I
Yes,
can
let the
use
big
my
one open
lockpick.
Oh my god.
You see her kind of wielding her maul, and Jadoon quickly skitters in and starts to check out the door. This is a standard internal door. It is locked, but the lock here is like a DC 8 lock.
Okay, is it trapped before anything?
Oh, investigation check, please. Yeah.
Always the investigation check for everything.
Yeah.
The last time Corinne didn't do an
18 plus
investigation
7?
check when we opened
No,
something,
this is
we
a
found
standard
Jerome.
This is a standard shop bought. This is like a Walmart lock. This is fine. Yeah.
All right, Jadoon will unlock it.
Sure. Not even a check. You just done. Yeah, you're insulted by this lock. The second that you undo the lock, the door yaws open, and I will just reveal this part here. And inside is crates. There's one desk that's clearly kind of got an inventory ledger on it, and it's got a strange language scrawled all over it. There is a bunch of racking. These kind of stairs here. Oh, I haven't got the select on. These stairs here are actually racking instead, because I moved the entrance. And yeah, you can see that there's what seems to be bushels of dried herbs. There seems to be some brightly coloured bottles that haven't got anything in them yet, and it says Groger's Love Filter, but he spelt filter with an F instead of a PH, which is how you normally write the elixir form of filter.
He has spelled it wrong. I wonder if that's on purpose, because that's not actually what it is.
I
Yeah.
do not understand. I cannot process the
This is-
insignificance.
The
Of
organics are complicated comment from earlier.
You said there was an inventory ledger, correct?
Yep.
Can I understand what language?
Are you proficient in Gnomish? You recognize it straight away, but are you proficient in Gnomish?
I am not.
No.
I can read all languages.
Absolutely. So yeah, even though you can't read Gnomish, if you mention it, Arya will just go up and start reeling off what it is.
Yeah, no. I'm wondering if the ring that we're after or something connected to it isn't somewhere on this ledger, because that would give us a clue.
Yeah, it would. Okay.
Worth a shot.
So, Arya, are you going to read it?
Yeah.
Okay. You go through the various odds and sods that are there, and you can see that this is what you'd normally find in most herbalism shops, alchemy shops. There's a ton of alchemist supplies, herbalist supplies. There's a few bits and pieces that come in from the barges as well. So you've got crocodile teeth. snake venom, or entire snakes. And as you're reading that, one of you actually finds a snake corpse in one of the barrels. And it looks quite fresh as well, as in it was recently delivered. And if you look on the ledger, it says received 1 swamp viper. Yeah, you have a look through it all, and yeah, it seems to be the inventory for his shop. Nothing really there points to a ring or pursuing a ring. It seems to be strictly only a stock inventory and not what he spends his money on. It's not a financial ledger. It is just an inventory ledger, telling him how much he's got, and you can tell he makes adjustments every time he uses a reagent to make something. He lowers the stock down, and that's the ledger in front of you at the moment.
For such an odd shop, he sure keeps good inventory.
He was not probably selling this item, though. It may be on him or in a very well-locked place. We probably should find his body.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, can
Any
I do...
clues would be in his office, maybe?
Can I do one? The hologram or whatever you want to call it when we entered the shop was of him, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct, yeah.
Can Jadoon go out and back in and like pay attention to his hands, see if there's any ring on the hands in that?
Good call. Yeah, you walk out, walk back in. There are a host of rings on his fingers. There are 2 that could be it. One of them has a large rose quartz on it with small arcane symbols in the filigree around the side. The other one is on the other hand, and it seems to have what seems to be a bit of slate. It's a very strange fashion. It takes up most of his knuckle, but then again, he is a gnome. It takes up most of his knuckle and his finger, and that is just a piece of untreated slate. It's not polished. It seems quite rough. Yeah, for all you know, it could be that he was wearing the damn thing.
Okay, so Jadoon walks back. I think perhaps his corpse is wearing it. Trouble is, if the corpse is wearing it in here, if we take it off his person, I don't know if that counts as stealing.
I expect it does. We will have to deal with that when it comes, I suppose.
I can carry his organic body outside this abode.
Are we going to pay for his body?
There's no need to pay for his body.
I don't think we will need to exchange currency to carry out his organic body.
I guess we'll find out. You need this door unlocked, don't you?
Is there a locked door in this room? This one that I'm kind of on.
Yes.
Right, that's locked.
That is a locked.
Yes.
That's a locked door, and it has a. It's a very good-looking piece of furniture. This door has gilded filigree around it, and you do see more arcane symbols. Apparently, he was very prolific in using these things. If anybody would like to make an Arcana check, and you can do so.
I'm always up for making Arcana checks.
I only got 10.
15?
Yep, 15. You just about get it. You've heard of the spell Protection from Good and Evil. This is effectively it in a ward form. Demons, devils, angels, fae, I think elementals as well, struggle to get through this door.
Oh.
But they only struggle to get.
Interesting. Well, yes. It is nothing that should affect all of you. We'll see if I can pass through.
Aberrations, celestials, elementals, faes, fiends, and undead.
Yes. You're if you're a doppelganger, you're just a humanoid, so you should be
Yeah,
fine.
I'm humanoid, but technically my patron is a celestial, and I have a whisper who is also that.
Yep, Whisper is a Celestial. But you know, Felicia, that you can dismiss Whisper to her pocket dimension. Actually, she goes back to the Astral Sea and walk through the door and call her back, and she should appear the other side.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So-
planned then.
Is the door locked?
There's a lock in the door, but at this point, it is not locked.
I will open the door.
Trust the robot to just go and start the encounter. Yeah.
The what?
So you open the door, and inside is a large, beautiful library. I say large, it would be large for its gnomish companion. Standing in the middle of the room, although now that I look at it on, it just looks like a psycho in a hockey mask, is a
It's Jason from
is a Warforged. Yeah. You can see a Warforged just standing there. The Warforged is wearing a robe and seems to have ink on its finger. And as the door opens, it turns and goes, "Hello. You may wish to close the door soon." And you can hear a violent rattle from the bookshelves. In particular, these ones here. The two sets in the middle are rocking violently. And you can see that some of the books are chained to the shelf.
I will
Hello?
try and get in the room as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
you can see
I'm air
that,
genasi, so I don't know if elemental is an issue, but because I'm not an elemental, but
you feel slightly nauseous as you walk through, but it doesn't register you as a full elemental, so
Okay.
you're fine.
Jadoon will also attempt to walk through.
Okay. You know what happens. Okay. You do get through though. And you get through. Some of you feeling a little queasy on the other side, and the unit turns around and says, "Hello, I am Arcanist Unit 593. You can call me R for short. You may wish to leave soon. They're getting quite violent, and I think they're about to break the ting, ting, ting."
But before
chains
this
break.
goes on, Simon, while we were walking in, Sentry's is gonna go, "Hello, my identification is Sentry 493. How do you do?"
Okay. And he gives the reply I've already given, and just gives what is basically the "hello, citizen" kind of thing. And at that point, 6 books clink, break free of the shell and
Monster book.
start flying about.
The monster books of monsters.
Ark steps back and says, "They will not hurt me, but unfortunately, I cannot hurt them either. Please defend yourselves or leave." And the books are going to try to attack you. Roll initiative, please.
Can we leave?
I have never fought a actual book before. Fascinating.
nat 1 for me. But that makes mine a 5.
18.
Okay.
12.
5, 18, 12,
13.
13 for
19.
Sean, and 19 for Logan.
Simon, should we have a quick break before we go into combat? Because it's almost
Probably,
10 to
That's
10.
probably a good idea,
Yeah,
actually.
that is
Yeah.
a good idea. And there's some cake nearby, so have some. So, let's let's have a quick break, and we will see you after that. And
Okay.
who knows? We may have our first TPK where people get bludgeoned by books.
No. Bye.
I
And welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
So, when we left off, our intrepid agents of the deputation, mercenary police force, we're looking through the arcane hovel and shop of Grogar, a practitioner of herbalism, alchemy, and the dark art, for fun and profit. And they had just walked into one part of his abode that is, in gnome terms, a vast library. For you guys, it's fairly large, but for him, it's a vast library. And one of the things I did forget to mention from my notes is that there's roots going through the ceiling. So you're the slap bang under the tree here. And somehow he's managed to weave decorations in among roots and things. However, that is not what you're looking at right now. What you're looking at is 6 large leather-bound tomes that have broken the chains that hold them to the shelves, and are now flying about. Not like birds or anything like that. They are. Some of them are yawing open. Some of them are clasped shut, and they are levitating up in the air and starting to fly towards you. I've got you all to roll initiative before the break, and we've got Logan on 19, Felicia on 18, Sean on 13, Corinne on 12, and then taking up the last slot is Kate on 5. So the initiative is Logan, Felicia, Sean, Corinne, all of the books, and then Kate. They are hurtling towards you as thrown by someone's force, and they are going to attempt to pelt you all. So, Logan, what are you doing?
Okay, first of all, can I disengage that one?
Yes, you can. Yeah, that's a bonus action.
Okay, I'd like to move there.
Sure.
So that I'm just in melee with that one.
Yep, that's fine. Yep.
Okay, and then I would like to attack.
Sneak
yep.
attack. Sneak attack.
Yes, thanks to your swashbuckler build, you are only in combat with one book, and so yes, you take up your duelist fighting stance and get ready to stab the pages, making all book nuts, myself and Nick included, twitch with.
I cannot find flying book sounds, Simon. What are you doing to me?
Flapping or something. I don't know. Birds flapping, maybe.
We have bats. We have bats.
Just rustling.
Bats is good. Yep. We'll say they've got squeaky hinges. So yeah.
Or maybe just like library sounds of people like reading books and like flipping
No,
their
but,
pages.
I mean, there's
Silence. There's the sound of reading books in silence.
there is writing quill. I'll use that as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
that sounds cool.
Anyway, sorry, carry on. That's
Yeah.
just
Okay. Yeah. So as it flies towards you, you pull out your rapier and you go for the jab attack.
And I did roll. I rolled a 10 plus 9 with the rapier, so that's a 19.
19, yeah, definitely hits. So even though it has effectively leather armor, you jab it in the side, and it's strange because normally you try to find the squishy parts, the internal organs, but it is a book. You're stabbing a book, and so yeah, go for it. Roll for damage, and you do get your sneak attack.
That's 1d8 plus 2d6 plus 6, right?
Yeah, 1d8 plus 2d6 plus 6. Yep, that's it.
Okay, total of 20.
Sorry, you cut out just at the end there. How much?
I rolled 8 on the d8, a 6
Oh, just
on one of the
the
d6.
total.
Yeah, total is 24.
24, yeah. So you guys watch as this thing comes flying towards Jadoon. It's okay, dude. You don't need to show me what we're on trust.
I was showing for the audience.
Oh, right, fair enough. Yeah, so you bring your rapier forward and look for the vulnerable point on a book which you realise is the spine. Yeah, and you line up your shot, and just as it's hurtling towards you, it turns into just the right position, and you lash forward and pierce the spine, and immediately pull the sword up. The spine mostly rips. It's only kind of held together by an inch on the bottom, and the book just falls on the floor, completely motionless. At the moment, it is inactive.
Inactive does not mean dead.
And
With
how do you
the-
kill a book, though?
I don't think you do.
Wait, inactive means it could possibly. Does that mean it could possibly make an attack of opportunity if I was to move away?
You have no idea, and I've just done a quick luck roll. Yeah, it falls shut on the floor.
Okay. I will use
Interesting.
some of my movement to move on to the next one to my. That's my left.
Yep. Okay. So, yep, you complete the rest of your move. So, yeah, you disengage from the one by wheeling around. It seems to be flying in your direction. Stab one of it. It goes down on the top of the bookshelf, completely motionless, and then you wheel away to the next one. Okay. Next up is Felicia.
Yes. This one action. Yep, as I thought. Okay. I will cast Hex on Ole Dole Doff Kinkelane Koff Koffelane Bing Ban Ole Dole Doff. This one.
Okay. And that was a Swedish ip dip, I'm sure. So
PewDiePie fans, old school PewDiePie fans are going nuts right now.
I am sorry, but I am Swedish.
Don't apologize.
Yes. So,
I have not watched enough PewDiePie to know that if he used that at one point, because
neither
Very
do
old school
I.
PewDiePie. Very old school PewDiePie.
Right. Oh well. It will have disadvantage on intelligence checks.
intelligence checks.
Not
Okay.
that one actually.
I mean, you can, Felicia, what you can do is, it's just for future reference, you can give them disadvantage on wisdom checks to find things, because normally our rogues will be hiding, and then you can give them disadvantage on finding them.
Meh.
That's just for future reference, because it's hard to know what to do with hex.
Okay. So
I'm gonna Eldritch Blast it now.
Okay. Go for the attacks.
Yes. Do not betray me. Okay, it did not betray me. What's my spell modifier? Spell attack +7. So that's a 26, and that's a dirty 20.
Both hit. Roll for damage, and it's 1d10 plus 1d6 plus if you did powerful cantrip, your charisma mod.
Wait, 1d10 plus 1d6. And was there anything else with using a slot of third or fourth? You can remember fifth or how you can. That does not matter. It's just 1d6. Okay.
Yeah, it just increases the duration of the.
Yeah, that's not funny. Okay, first one does 8 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 does 10 damage.
Yeah. So you guys watch as the book just obliterates. The two force bolts hit it simultaneously, and the book just gets scattered all over the place. The pages or at least pieces of the pages, start to waft down in slow arcs. And I'm instead of getting you guys to do a perception check, a luck check instead. And you can see that as the pages are wafting down to the floor, the contents on the pages are disappearing.
Do I move my hex now? Is it dead?
I think you can move it as a bonus action after something has died.
Oh. Let's see. Hex. If the target drops to 0 hit points before the spell ends, you can use a bonus action. Oh.
Yeah.
Next turn,
So-
then.
Yep. Bonus action on your next turn. Yep. Okay. So far, so good. 2 down, 4 to go. Sean, there's one in front of you that looks like it's going to hurtle towards your head. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm gonna move to the side a little, boop, just to clear up some space, and then I'm going to try and hit a book with a long sword.
Sure. Go for the attack.
Smart. Question mark.
It was a 26 to hit.
Yes, that hits a book. Go for it.
Yay! I rolled a dice well, and then immediately did not. That is 9 slashing damage on a book.
Sure. So you put a huge gash across the cover, and it looks like it's hit a few pages. But aside from that, that is attack 1. Go for attack 2.
Okay. That is 24 to hit.
Roll for damage.
3. That is a 10 of slashing damage.
10. This thing is in shreds, but it seems to be held aloft by whatever arcane force animates it. Yep, that's you done. It is mostly dead. Very different.
Cool.
There's a big difference between most dead and all dead.
Indeed. So Corinne, your
It
turn.
just means the rogue can kill Steel.
Sentry is wondering if she should go into rage against books.
But you can't read. It's
Sentry is thinking this.
Okay.
Oh, Sentry will go into rage because she always goes into rage when there's combat. So rage mode
Yeah.
engaged.
Wait, you didn't ask for permission?
No, we're attacking, so it's fine.
Okay. I've given you a chained heart symbol because it's a metal symbol on there. And yeah, go for it. Go for your attack. Which one are you attacking first, by the way?
The one that's right in front of me. That one.
Sure. Go for it.
So that is probably a hit. Blah, blah, blah. An 18 to hit.
Sure. Don't roll for damage on this one. It only had 1 hit point left. The huge gashes. Yeah, sorry, Sean. The huge gashes that's in it. You just swing lazily through it all, and even with your blunt instrument, you manage to grab the maul. Manages to hit one part of it and snap one half away from the other half. It hits the floor, and as the 2 parts bounce across the floor, you can see all the text from the pages is disappearing.
Woohoo! No more text. I can't read it anyway.
Yeah.
Books
So
are for nerds!
that's that particular book gone. And you have 1 more attack.
Corinne?
15.
15. Just about hit. Just about.
Okay.
Good to know.
Oh no, that is terrible. 2 1s on my 2d6s. So that is.
You're in rage.
I am in rage. I think that is a
Strength
plus
+2.
6. Yeah. So it's a plus 6. So
8 points
plus
total.
8
Okay.
points of magical bludgeoning.
Yeah, I mean, a few of the pages do get ripped out, and the second that they hit the floor, you can see that the text fades from them. But it's still a fairly decent attack on it. You know, it's damaged. It's not as ragged as the last one you hit, but it's still fairly damaged. So that's your turn done, Corinne. The next turn is from Ark, the librarian unit that's here in the library. He goes, "Not the books! Don't damage the books! Why are you damaging the books?" And he kind of flusters about, a little C-3PO-ish in his demeanor, and goes, "They're just upset because they think that you're attacking. They're worried about their owner. I'm sorry, but I can't convince them that that he's dead." And so that's all he's going to do. He's going to faff about and say some lines. And now it's the book's turn. So, Corinne, the one in front of you comes up and is going to attempt to slap you about the face. And you notice it opens up into like two leaves, and it's effectively going slap slap on your face as it does so. But it's really hard slaps.
Is the book trying to give a wood creature a paper cut?
I'm not a wood I am mostly made of porcelain, so
Yes.
I'm not
It's
wood.
trying to give porcelain a paper cut.
Corinne, does a 13 hit?
No.
Okay. Second attack is a 19, and take 5 points of bludgeoning damage, halved to because of
2.
reasons. Yep. Okay. Second attack is on Jadoon, and so the first attack is a dirty 20 on you, sir. So I think that hits, and take 4 points of bludgeoning damage as the first book page goes slap across your face. And the second is an 11, which I know doesn't hit you. So you narrowly miss. Well, not narrowly miss. You dodge out the way of the second slap after getting caught by the first. The book with the skull on it, this one here, is going to fly over and hit. Well, attempt to hit Arya. So the first is a 17 to hit.
Yeah.
Takes 7 points of bludgeoning damage as this one tries to crack you with spine. So this one isn't opened up. This is a closed book, and it tries to hit you with the spine to try and break your nose.
Okay, how
And-
much did I take?
7 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. I would like to use a reaction to cast Hellish Rebuke.
Sure, by all means. So it's a dex saving throw for a book, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Book's dex is that. Oh, it's one major stat. So that is a natural 1. Roll for damage.
Ooh, nice. So, since I am a warlock, I cast it at a higher level, and that is 4d10s of damage.
Yeah, I have a feeling this book is not long for this world.
He slapped me. So,
If it survives,
8
it's gonna
plus
try and slap you
8
again.
is 16. 16 plus 6.
Unless those dice can roll 0, this thing's dead.
Wait, I'm trying to calculate it. That is 22. 23.
Sure.
Yes.
It hits you and then gets consumed by flame, and ash falls to the floor. This thing is gone.
You don't slap the warlock.
Ouch. Okay.
And that was
Kate.
your 2 spell slots.
It's fine. I can just take a short rest.
So yeah, Kate, you can see that there's one book that's been damaged by Sentry, and there's another book that is facing off and has just slapped Jadoon. It is up to you. Go for it.
Well, I actually want to know if in the previous room, as the map dictates, there might be crates or some sort of chest or boxes or anything like that.
Yes, there are. There are various types of books.
And are they big enough to hold these books?
You could certainly grab hold of a box, go up and capture a book. Yeah.
I will attempt to do that.
Okay. So you grab a box and a tip of the hat to Paul, my DM on Wednesday. It's a badger-sized box.
Perfect.
About the type of box that you would be able to fit a badger in. And why he came up with that, I have no idea, but I love him for it.
Badger's quite big as well.
Because
Yeah,
it's
badger's a big
because
old
you were
box, yeah.
trying to your character was trying to get a badger with them. I don't know if it was a dead badger or something, but your character was
Somebody
trying
was
to bring a
piloting my
badger with them.
character that day, so I don't know what was going on. Merrick would usually not want a badger unless it was dead. But yeah, so necromancer.
I will
I
run
think
next
it was
door,
a dead badger.
grab a box, and I will attempt to pin one of the which so this one's is that sort of, are they flying sort of thing? Are they levitating?
Yeah, but they are magically levitating. And,
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to go for that.
Well,
so
and
you are
this
not
one is just
proficient.
still on the shelf. What is this one doing?
It's currently trying to bash Corinne's character Sentry across the face,
Right.
but she's
Not
just hit it with
going
a
good.
large mallet.
I will attempt to trap that one. What the
Okay.
closest one?
So, sure. So you are not proficient in box unless
Nope.
you have the bar brawler, a tavern brawler feat, which allows you proficiency with improvised weapons.
Nope.
So you're going to grab them, and I will allow it to be a dex attack because you're trying to catch it. So
Yeah.
you know you're kind
Okay.
of playing Hungry Hippos with a bar.
I don't know what I'm doing. It's not very monk-like, but
I love that
so-
analogy.
we're just destroying
so
these books for no good reason.
Yeah, Hungry Hippos. So give me a dex without proficiency check, and that is your attack.
Okay, that was 17. That will be.
Ooh, yes. So you run straight up and clomp. This book is now just basically ricocheting off the inside of the box. And you can tell that the box it's trying to levitate the box as well, but the box is a little bit heavy. It's still made of timber, and you just flick the catch, and it's going to rattle across the floor a bit, but it's not going to get.
But I have actually trapped it. Oh,
that
it's a
is-
box with a lid. Amazing. That's what I want.
Yep. I saw where you're going, so yeah, you've just gone clomp. And now it's just ricocheting inside the box. It's trying to lift up the box as well, but it's not strong enough to. Cause...
Yeah, and I will look at everyone and be like, they are just books. Let us stop them, or we destroy this work. And that is all I can do.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you've. Let's see. Which book have you managed to get?
The closest. So that one.
Yeah. Okay. So that book there, I'm just gonna put a little symbol in it to say box. And yeah, so you have managed to successfully capture the Journal of Angoriel the Bard. And yeah, so the book is kind of kicking around.
I'm sure it'll not be readable, considering it will not want to come out of the box. But it was worth trying.
Yeah. Okay, so next up is back at top, and that is Logan. Yeah, you can see that the monk basically just ran in with a box, put one foot on one of the little bookshelves. Bear in mind, this is a gnome's library, so the
Jadoon.
bookshelves in there.
Jadoon is not saying, okay, Jadoon, you gotta understand, the last session, Jadoon did not take a point of damage. This is the first bit of damage Jadoon got. She was slapped in the face. She is pissed. She is going to use Searing Smite on this attack.
Yep.
The first damage I got, and it was a book. Sure. Yeah. So bonus action, Searing Smite. This will set the book alight if it lands. So go for the attack.
I make this attack with my sword, don't I?
Yeah, you still make it with your rapier. So your rapier's just burst into flame with the usual point of divine light at the end of it. So now a flaming rapier with a tiny little bright light at the end of the rapier, and you go in for stab.
Okay, so that is a 16 plus I believe my rapier is a 9.
That definitely hits. So for you, it is 1d8 plus 3d6. One of those d6s is fire, and then plus 6 at the end as well. And it is a flame.
So altogether that is a 15.
15 points of damage, yep. Yeah, you strike at this thing, and this one... 3? Yes, number 3. So you guys watch as she shish kebabs this book on the end of the rapier, and the book just goes whoosh. It's burning. Most of the cover is gone. The pages inside are burning as well. It's probably not going to last very long.
I give them a look. That's all. Just while still probably almost sitting on my box of a book.
Yeah, that look of really. Yep, there you go. Put a flame icon on that. So yeah,
Is the book
that's
still
what-
alive?
It doesn't look like it's going to be alive for very long. As in, on its turn, it takes another d6 of fire damage, and yeah. And I'd like to point out the book can't put itself out because it has no appendages. Normally it's an action. Normally it's an action to put out a flame. It is a book. It has nothing to put it out with. There's no bucket of water
Just
that it can
flap
fly
itself a
into.
lot.
Yeah, fan the flames. That's what it needs to do. It is both the air source and the fuel source. It's completing the air triangle and hastening in its demise. That's all it can do. So, yeah. Great. That was Logan's turn. Felicia. So you've got one book that's being held down by the monk and the second one that's been dry roasted by the rogue. What are you gonna do?
Honestly, I don't know. At this point, I have no idea about anything. I guess, is anyone hurt? Not really. Well, maybe. How
I'm
much
taking
damage
2
do you
points.
My
do you
pride
take?
is.
Yeah. Can't exactly do anything about that. Well, I'll give myself a 8d6 of healing, and since I have the right thingy, I always heal max.
Oh
Okay.
yes, that's a lovely feat. That's Pact of the Chain, and then it's Blessing of the Old Ones, I think. Where the whenever you get healed, you get maximum heal. I've got that.
Gift of the
thing.
Ever-Living Ones, yeah.
Oh,
As
sorry,
long as
Ever-Living
I'm
Ones.
within range of my familiar, I always regain maximum
maximum,
amount
yeah.
of hit points.
Yeah, I got a Hexblade that's basically like, healer, heal me. I'll only need to be healed once. It's great.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's. Are you doing
That's my
anything else?
bonus, and then I'll hide behind the big one.
Sure, you hide behind the
Yeah.
wall. No problem.
Mhm.
Okay. So, I would say do me a hide check, but it's not going to last that long. Sean, you can see once again Monk with a book in a box, and someone making roasting marshmallow books.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm feeling my own certain amount of shame damage from Trim. So I'm going to approach the remaining book that's on fire
Yep.
and then try to put it out and grab it somehow.
Sure. I would say that you could probably do both at the same time. You've got quite a substantial cloak. So what you could do is just grab hold of your cloak and attempt a grapple check with it.
Right.
So for me, that's just a straight grapple check. If you succeed, I'll say you put up the flame.
Cool. That's
Use
plus strength, right?
Athletics.
A grapple check is
Athletics.
always athletics check.
Cool.
It's only with the box that I allowed for dex because it was just a case of catching something.
Cool. That's a 15.
Yep. Okay. I need to do and it will be for it because it's thrashing about. It will be a dex check, and they get a 13. So you grab it and put it out, and you're holding onto this thing. It's struggling around, but with the cloak on it as well, you managed to hold it fast. And I'm gonna say that's the end of combat. Because the rest of you, if you wish, can come up and help.
Yeah.
I will, yeah.
Walden with the book. Even if you don't help, Ark will come forward and with the strength that he just naturally has, being made out of mostly metal for Ark, he'll help you kind of bring the book down. And he says, I have an idea. If you leave the box with me and we can get another box for this, we could potentially manage to get them to be convinced that you're here for this reason. You need to find the Master's diary. And if you can find it, it should be in his bedroom. And he tells you the door that the growling came from. That's his bedroom. He says, if you go there, just talk kindly to Widget. Okay, he's going to be scared. Tell Widget that you're here to look after the Master and give him his final respects. And he should be able to calm down. Just no sudden movements. Be very kind, and you should be able to sort this out. If you get his diary, bring it in here and write in the diary that I have died, because it always considers the writer to be him, and the deputation are going to come and look after my affairs. The books should start behaving.
Affirmative.
Paul. Very well. Back to the growly room.
Okay.
Growly
Just
Oh,
as you're
I hate
leaving,
that room.
just as you're
We
leaving,
have
There
to
is
be
an
nice.
organic in there named Widget.
As you're leaving, Ark goes, "Oh, hang on, you'll need the key." And he rummages inside his robes, pulls out a brass key and hands it to Walden, and says, "Do be kind to him, will you? He was a good master."
Thank you, Ark.
Okay. So presumably you're going to head back to this room here. Ping it. It's on the right as you look at it. And I presume that you put the key in the lock.
Yep.
Well, before that, let's try and talk down Widget, shall we?
Sure. There's a kind of a growling coming from it. Again, slightly tinny noise. And you. What do you want to say?
Oh yeah, you've got a kind voice. How about you take on this one?
I'll try. Excuse me, Mr. Widget. We're here to help. We need to give your master his final resting. If you could please let us in, we will be really careful not to disturb, and then you can continue living here together with vad heter den andra roboten? The other robot, what's its name? The
Okay.
Ark.
Ark.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
One of
you
my
and Ark can live here. Would that be all right, please?
Can you roll me? In this case, give me a persuasion check with advantage. Now that you've got the advice from Ark and you've followed it, give me a check. I'll tell you why it's not handled. Well, you'll know why it's not animal handling.
Yeah, and considering my persuasion is a +7, and thank you for the advantage because that's a nat 1. Okay, so a dirty 20.
Okay. The growling switches to a. And you can hear something flumping down on. As far as you're concerned, you're safe to go.
I will nod to the one with the key to open.
Okay.
I opened the door, yeah.
Open the door, and inside is a room that is slightly roughshod. Apparently, the rooms that were meant for study and meant for commerce were kept very, very clean. But this bedroom has got a very organic element to it. You can see that the poor unfortunate on the bed is a hill gnome and is a rock gnome, and you can see is quite old. As I say, the disfiguration that you see, wearing everything that he has in the illusion, and he's just lying on the bed, quite peaceful, and he's gripping a piece of parchment in his hand. He's just going into mortar now, and the scene is as you would see it. The figure that you saw before, lying on the bed, clutching a piece of paper, and you can see that sat on the floor, just by here, is a dog construct. You can see that there is some form of upholstery on the dog, but it is very clearly a construct just like the wolf. And it's quite a cute looking dog. It's kind of looking at you, its head to one side. It's just looking at you balefully, and then kind of switching its gaze between you and its expired master.
Sentry is very interested in the non-organic form of the dog.
The hound. Now that you're closer to it, there's a very, very mild ticking coming from within as well. And whenever it makes a noise, it has slightly synth to it. So what would you like to do?
Sentry will attempt to, because she knows that people pet dogs, so she'll attempt to pet the dog.
Okay. The petting, even though it kind of shies away from hands, when you persist, it does accept strokes, and it does wag its tail, but it's still looking obviously at its master, and seems to be a very sad dog. It seems to show a lot more emotions than your king or Ark. And well done for not getting into a fight with this R2 creature. You'll have your leg off. There was an encounter option.
I would like to look around for a diary.
Sure. Over on the writing bureau, there is indeed an open diary, and it is in Gnomish. I love Gnomish because nobody ever chooses Gnomish as a proficiency unless you're a gnome.
I can read everything, thank you very much.
Aria can. You now have the diary, and it nestled in the crook of the diary seems to be a very nice looking fountain.
Can anybody write in Gnomish? Good.
No, but I don't think that matters.
Okay.
It will recognize that it's been written in, I think.
And Ark specified you must write it in the library.
Can I just have a quick look at the parchment in the deceased's hands?
Sure. You pull it out, and it's in Gnomish.
Arya, can you read this, please?
Yes, I will take a look at it.
It's a very old letter, and it's from his mother. And it's just telling him about the latest works back home, and the recent completion festival for a scene that they helped dig out, and the new trade deal they've got with the dwarves. You can see that this is very old. You'd think probably about 200 years old, and it's probably the last letter that was ever.
Oh. It's a letter from his mother. Probably a few hundred years old if his age is to be trusted.
Okay.
Odd
He
that
must
he
have
would
thought-
have it on him at the time.
Well, if he knew he was dying, it's common to seek comfort.
Can
I think.
can I inspect the body and try and discern how this happened?
Yep. You take a look. Do a medical check.
Ruh-roh.
There's a certain amount of information
18.
you get. 18. Nice. So,
Yeah.
what you would
Good
have got automatically is there's no stab wound, spell marks. There's nothing that seems untoward. By the look on his face, being that you're police, you've been sent to locations before where somebody has had this happen. You have seen this before. He died of a heart. His heart just gave out.
Okay, well, we were told old age, but this checks out with a heart attack. I suspect this is
It's
probably
old
all
age
about
heart
him.
attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all seems in line with what
Probably-
we've been told.
Yes. He didn't live the healthiest life, so it's to be expected, and he is old.
Yeah.
Very old.
His room is like a student room, by the way. There's bits of unfinished food, crumbs all over the damn place. Yeah, he clearly lived for his work, and this was just basically where he ate.
Let's do the writing thing, and then we can find the ring. And I'm still very curious about whatever was behind that other door, if we have time.
Well,
Yes.
This is where I mentioned that it is 12 minutes to 11. Typically, we finish at 11, and you guys got two options. We can either pick this up in another session and make it a short shot instead of a one shot, or you can just say, "Okay, we've gone this far," and you can end it there. Whichever way you would like to go about it. If we all have a consensus that we go on a little later, I'm fine with that too. But I do have to start work at 8 o'clock tomorrow. But 8 o'clock for me is fine. That's 3 hours after where I wake up. So that is not a limitation for me.
I know
would-
Corinne will not be able to stay up that long because this is Corinne.
Yeah, I would appreciate we finish on time. I'm happy to continue this at another time, if that's okay. Or we just say, "Oh, we did the thing." I don't mind
Yeah, we
either
can
one.
Pick it back up on the weekend. I'm doing nothing on the weekend, and Corinne will very much appreciate me not me having something to do and not driving.
I mean, it's not like I have a life currently, so whatever works with her.
None
Yes.
of us have.
If we were to do a weekend, my availability would be Saturday because it would be on Sunday because I have a D&D meet on Saturday, unless they changed it back. I don't know.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I will have to confer with my other group and get back to you. But I would
Well,
love to
we can make
continue.
an arrangement. Yeah.
Perfectly.
Okay. Well, we've got 10 minutes left, so we'll do a few things. You can tie up details, ask questions of the rooms that you've went through so far. So you have the bedroom to search. and also the library, and you have Ark that you can speak to. You did manage to rescue 2 of the books, obliterating 4 of them. And yes, I was that dick. The information you needed were in the books that you destroyed.
Yeah,
so you have
I
you
guessed
have
as much.
2 out of 6. Yeah, I loved it when I had got this idea. I was like, but the books they're attacking in them are the ones. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, which is why each of the books has a different graphic because each has a different title. So yeah, what would you like to do?
I will bend down to the dog. Do you know of a ring? Can you find a ring? I'm just going to try talking to the dog.
Doggy!
The dog stands up, wags its tail, and is really, really eager at this new friend.
And I will try and indicate a ring. Actually, does he have rings? He has rings on his hands at the moment, doesn't he?
Yes,
body.
his hands are blinged out.
But we don't. Do we have a specific description of the ring we are searching for?
Nope.
I
How
saw
will
a
we
couple
know-
of them on the hologram that could have been them. I don't know if he's wearing the same ring.
So the 2 rings that Jadoon's describing on his hands, one of them is a large slate rectangle, large for a gnome at least, and the other one is a large oval-shaped rose quartz with arcane symbols around the side in the filigree.
Okay.
Let's just take all the rings.
We could.
Yeah.
Is anyone good at identifying rings? Maybe we can find.
I can cast Identify, but you're gonna bring him out here. I'm not going in there with that thing.
I love it. Yeah, we'll take the rings from the hand and pass them to Jadoon so that they can
Sure.
see if those are the rings, and then I'll follow the dog and see if the dog leads to any others.
Okay.
And
So
you will probably scream because you just lead the dog out towards them.
so
Madness.
you take the rings out to Jadoon. It's going to take Jadoon about 20 minutes to do both rings, both of the large rings, and kind of just keep the others to one side if you want to identify them later. So the rose quartz one is actually a ring of charm person, and it has 3 charges that renew at dawn. And the quartz ring is a ring of the ram, and that has a number of charges where you blast somebody with force energy, and it fires them back. 2 quite powerful rings.
It's not either of these.
Well,
I don't need anything with force. I already have that. The charm person one could be useful, but I don't. I'm
Not
bad
to
at
mention-
talking to people as it is.
I have an
You're
item that is
so sad.
basically this. Like these
You're having
glasses that I'm wearing is basically this ring.
You do notice
You-
that
you
a
have
lot
a
of the symbols
charisma of
on the
18.
ring are similar to your glasses.
okay. Well, we still need to find this ring, so let's do what Ark said and write the doobly oobly magically blah in the journal, so we're all safe and good, and then we can carry on searching for this ring.
Arya did that.
Goes
Did
to scribble something down in the diary. I'm hoping one of you guys
No.
will intervene.
No, Sentry, I'll do it. Please.
Okay. Okay. And she hands it down.
Good
Thank
initiative,
you.
Sentry.
I've learnt my alphabet though. 1, 0.
1, 0,
1,
1.
0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1.
Binary alphabet. It's easy enough to learn. So Arya, the second you pick up the journal, you see some of the gnomish on the page, and as you look at the gnomish on the page, it rearranges in front of your eyes using your patron's boon. and you can read the final part of the journal. And the final part of the journal says, "He comes today. He comes today with good news for my mother. I hope that I can perform this one final service before this mortal form yields. I have made too many pacts. I have extended my life for too long, and now I must. But I hope that I can perform this one." The Eater of Dreams is capable of going through many different. If it is known by anybody, it shall be known by him. I fear when he arrives that I may not be strong enough to thwart him, but as long as I get the information, I should be able to bind one of the imps in preparation to take the information to my, and he should be able to fend off the great threat against. I do not know who has the idol, but they are clearly using it to try and twist my master's mind. He has been a force for good, a good, noble, honourable, and civil man for centuries now. I am living proof, for who would take somebody such as me under their wing and speak to them not only as a equal being, but as a friend. I shall do this for the Baron even with my dying. That totem shall not harm him. He shall see sunlight. And the entry appears to be kind of stopped with a pregnant pause. You see that his other journal entries hand, which do mention, as you flick through a quick bit of scan reading, that he is brokering deals with various fiends, demons, to try and find this damn thing. And they all the journals end in a kind of sign off with like progress and things like that. He's very meticulous, and this one seems to be left incomplete, and you have a feeling he was writing this and just went a bit of a lay down and then just didn't get back.
Yeah.
So you take it to the library, and Ark confirms that common will be fine. You write the words in that Ark explains, and you can hear the banging of the books in the boxes just subside a little bit, and then they go completely quiet. Ark goes up, opens the boxes, and you have 2 books.
I would like to start looking through the books.
One is a Bard's Tale, and the second one, and this is kind of happening at the same time. Doing this to identify because 20 minutes. One is the Tale of a Bard, and the Bard knew Aganassa for some time. He went adventuring with Aganassa, and there's lots of colourful language and there's tons of art. The second one that you have is a treatise on enchantment, and there are various sketches and things like that, and you realise this is written, even though it's under a nom de plume, this is written by Aganassa himself, and he has got several rings in there, and you can see that there are several designs, none of which you have seen so far.
Interesting.
Arya, do you tell us what you read? Do you read it aloud, or do you keep that secret? Okay. Thanks.
Nah.
Okay. We have just hit 11 o'clock over here, so that's where I'm going to call it to a close. But if you are happy to continue this investigation, lovely map. And believe me, you've only seen a little. You've got the sniveling little squick that is in door number 1 over here. But if you want, you can go in there and find out why it's so staying in there. And then there is a door to the south as well. And believe me, it takes the whole of the map. Beautiful map. if you would, if you'd like to continue this another one shot, I will find out when it's free, and we will complete this next time.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for playing. And we will see you guys another time, unless there's anything that you want to sign off with, Kate.
No, I will just go to our ending screen. Although actually, I don't have the credits sorted, so we won't probably have credits. But thank you to anyone who was watching and following and subbing and etc. We thank you very much, and we will thank you properly next time. Actually, I can actually see if anyone did follow or sub, and then we can say thank you. I don't think so specifically today, but we thank you if you've been lurking and watching or watching on YouTube. All right, we will see you later.
Yes. And if anyone shows up tomorrow, we are streaming The Benefactor.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
indeed,
Yeah.
our regular stream.
So,
Yeah, regular stream is tomorrow.
yeah, so tomorrow the guys are returning to Ostergald after going up and not only defeating but claiming for themselves the Hermit's Isle. They will be going to and rejoining the
I want
main
to
story
rename
of the
that
campaign.
Island Glorious Retreat.
Yeah, it's not about the group.
Wow.
It's not about the group at all.
Wow.
It's about glory.
For
We all
glory.
know this is about glory.
We should call it For Glory, but then at least it doesn't feel like it's just for glory, if you know what I mean. Anyway, yeah, definitely watch that tomorrow.
Yeah, so join us 8 p.m. UK time. In GMT? I think we're in GMT.
I don't know. The
yeah,
clock's
yeah,
going back
yeah,
this
yeah,
weekend
yeah.
or
Plus
forwards or
0.
something. Something's changing this weekend, isn't it?
I-
Or
I-
soon?
Yeah,
No, the
they're
world's gone
going
mad.
forward
Yeah.
on Sunday
Yeah.
or
If-
between
Something,
Sundays.
something.
If time went in only prime numbers, I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Check the internet and
yes,
you'll be fine.
check the internet
Yeah.
for whatever your time is for 8 p.m. UK time on Friday night, and you will join Corinne, Kate, Felicia, and Nick as they continue with the saga of the Benefit. See you
Yes.
later. Good night.
Now, night-night, everyone.